You guys asked for this, so here we go. This is an Illinois scouting report. Illinois and Duke play tomorrow, but if you're watching this after the Duke game and you're looking for March Madness like material, I got it for you for March as well. We're going to go through, I think, 8 or 9 guys on the team. But first, Illinois is coming off a 2-game losing streak. Look, can't really take much from this losing streak because Brad Underwood confirmed the team's basically been sick the past week, and we saw that with Cooper Flagg and Duke when Duke lost to Clemson. So I'm canceling the last 2 games out. I know they dropped both games, but they were a shell of themselves, especially last game. They love shooting threes, and they're a very good rebounding team. This team averages 44 rebounds a game. In comparison, Duke averages 39 a game, and they average 84 points per game. Whereas, again, since this is the Duke preview, Duke averages 81 points per game. So this team shoots threes, gets rebounds, pushes pace. They're skidding as of late, but they're talented. And we're going to start with the number 1 player on the team, and that is Casparas Jakucionis. Look, he's a 6'6" point guard, averages 16 points a game, 5.5 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. He's what makes Illinois go. He has a high usage rate. He's crafty, streaky shooter, 34 from 3 on 5 attempts per game. He's had 12 games with 5 or more assists this season, but he hasn't totaled that many assists in a game since the win against Ohio State back on February 2nd. So here are some pros and cons about Jakucionis. So a pro is he's a big guard. He's had a game where he's had 13 assists in a game this year. He's scored 20 or more in 10 games this season. He's a very good rebounder, and he's had multiple 10-plus rebound games for this team. The cons with Jakucionis is he can be soft with the ball. Physicality on the perimeter makes him uncomfortable. He's coming off one of his rougher games. Again, I'll give them benefit of the doubt because Illinois was sick. 6 points, 4 fouls, and 7 turnovers to 0 assists in 24 minutes. I give him somewhat a benefit of the doubt, but 7 turnovers to 0 assists also is not really an outlier because he has turned the ball over a lot this season. 92 turnovers on the year. Since the Ohio State game, Jakucionis has 11 assists to 15 turnovers. And like I said, 92 turnovers on the year. So he'll force stuff, especially when he's struggling. Player number 2 to watch is Thomasislav Ivisic. The 7'1" center averages 12.5 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. Like everybody else, he's coming off a bad performance, especially the past 2 games. He's had 11 total points on 5 of 16 from the field, all of 8 from 3, and only 10 rebounds. But Brad Underwood said he was one of the guys that have been sick. His offense mostly comes from the 2-man game. All Illinois basically runs is pick and roll, pick and pop. You'll see a lot of pick and roll in their offense. So the big man's pros. Prototypical European big, good feet, touch around the rim, and can shoot it from deep. 34% from 3 on 4.4 three-point attempts per game. 9 double-doubles this season. He's a good defender in the paint, too. Opponents are only shooting 30% against him and 5 of 22 from around the rim. His cons, though, he can be indecisive whether he wants to pop or roll in the 2-man game, which has led to turnovers for Casparas as the point guard and other guards. Sometimes he's just a little indecisive what he wants to do against the defense, and Illinois has turned the ball over because of it. He struggles to guard the pick and slip and susceptible to slips in general. So as good as he is around the rim defensively, if you get him out on the 3-point line and say you have a smaller center that is setting the screen and he's playing drop coverage or whatever, the slip's going to be there, whether it's to the rim or slip for the 3-pointer. So the next person we're going to talk about is Will Riley, 6'8" freshman forward, 12 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game. He had 27, 9, and 7 with 0 turnovers at Minnesota this season. He's had 7 straight games where he has scored in double figures, and in those 7 games, Will Riley is shooting 41% from 3. Some pros from him. He's finding his groove at the right time. If you're an Illinois fan, this is a guy that you're happy to see playing his best ball going into March. He's listed as a forward, but plays as a guard as well. 3 of his last 7 games, he's had 6 or more assists. He's a very good rebounder, just like everybody else on this team. He's a good defender. Opponents are shooting 33% against him. And his cons, he's a volume scorer. He's had 14 games this season where he has shot 40% or worse. The shot's not falling for Will Riley. It's just going to be that type of night for him. He is very much a streaky shooter. And like I said, 14 games shooting 40% or worse this season, though he's been hot of late, especially this past month. The next guy we're going to talk about is Kylan Boswell, the 6'2" guard, transfer from Arizona on the year, averaging 11 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game. He even had a triple-double this season against Chicago State. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Like I said, he's 6'2". His pros, he's a great rebounder for his size. I just said he had a triple-double. At 6'2", he's had 13 games this season with 5 or more rebounds. The dude just crashes the offense and defensive glass. And he's the guard for Illinois that can take his defender one-on-one to the rim and finish through contact. He's a tough, quick guard. The cons with Boswell, though, he's not an efficient scorer, similar to Will Riley, where he will settle for tough ones. He's shooting 23% from three, 38% from the field on 9 shots per game. So not efficient scorer, can get Illinois in trouble sometimes when he shoots tough ones. The next person we're going to talk about is Trey White. Trey White is a Louisville transfer. He's 6'7", 205, guard/forward, averages 9 points per game, 5 rebounds a game, and assists per game. All you need to know about Trey White: slasher. He averages 9 points per game because he'll either give Illinois 20 or more, or he'll give them 5 or less. The pros for Trey White: he's a good cutter, probably the best cutter on the team. He's a transition scorer. They look for him in transition. At 6'7", he's long and lanky. They'll push it with him. He's another very good rebounder, as is everybody on this team. And the cons for Trey White: he's a bad shooter, shoots 23% from three, and he's just not a facilitator at all. In 7 of his last 8 games, he has picked up 0 assists. So when Trey White is in, he's either in there to get strictly rebounds or cutting to the rim and scoring off of his cuts and transition. So the next guy up for Illinois is Ben Humrichous, 6'9", 220 forward. He's an Evansville transfer, averages 9 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and assists per game. He's a stretch big. 153 of his 208 field goal attempts are threes. He's a streaky shooter. Some of his pros, outside of his ability to hit the three, when he has it around the rim, he's actually a really good finisher. 82% from around the rim. It's damn impressive. And he has a nice little post fade too. So if he's not shooting a three and he's not around the rim, he'll back you down and he'll shoot an occasional post fade that looks like he's very comfortable shooting it. High percentage shot, in my opinion, for him. Doesn't shoot it often, but has nice touch. His cons, kind of like most guys on this team right now: streaky. 9 of 27 from the field in his last 3 games. So streaky shooter, but when Ben is on, Illinois reaches another level. And the next guy we're going to talk about is Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, 6'1", 185 guard, averages 7.5 points per game, 2 rebounds a game, and 0.6 assists per game. I say the 0.6 assists per game because he has 16 assists this whole season, and 5 of those assists came last game in their blowout loss, which was his best game of the year. He had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists to 0 turnovers. But like I said, 5 of his 16 assists this season came in that game. So pros: can be instant offense off the bench for Illinois. 9 games this year where he has scored 10 or more. He's physical downhill scorer, just like Boswell. And more about Lawhorn: his cons are his lack of facilitating. Like I said, 16 assists this whole season. He's not a three-point threat, 28% from three, and he can shoot bad shots. When he shoots bad shots, gets Illinois in trouble. 89 of his 157 shots this season have been threes, and he's shooting 28% from threes. So he might need to switch that up a little bit and get more to the rim than shooting 89 of his 157 from three when you're shooting 28%. The next guy on the list, Morez Johnson Jr., 6'9", 225, freshman forward. Look, for the Duke game, he's not playing. He's out. 7 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, over a block a game, and 18 minutes per game. But we're going to talk about Morez Johnson Jr. because if you're watching this after the Duke game and he's playing in March, this is a guy you really want to know about because he is awesome in his minutes per game. He's active. He has a high motor. He averages almost 3 offensive rebounds per game in 18 minutes. He's just a menace. 6'9", 225, pure athleticism. Against Penn State earlier this season, he played 20 minutes, and he had 20 points and 11 rebounds in 20 minutes. That's a 40-20 game. That's insane. The cons for Johnson Jr., though, the reason that he does play limited minutes is strictly due to foul trouble. I mean, against Alabama this season, he had 4 fouls in 9 minutes. It's pretty hard to do. So he gets himself in foul trouble, but he has a high motor, and when he's playing his best ball, it is awesome to watch with Illinois. And the last guy we're going to talk about is Jake Davis. Jake Davis is 6'6" forward, transfer from Mercer. He only averages 3 points per game, but he plays 10 minutes per game. So he's on the scouting report when you play 10 minutes per game. And all you need to know about Jake Davis is he's a three-point specialist. He has shot 75 field goal attempts this season, and 56 of those have been threes. So that is the Illinois scouting report for the Duke game and for March Madness and whatever game comes with it, maybe even the conference tournament if you're watching Illinois. So it should be a good game. I think Duke has a good test in front of them with Illinois' bigs and Malawatch for Duke without Malik Brown. And so it'll be interesting to see how Duke plays Illinois this upcoming Saturday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a comment if you want more of these. This was fun to do. I love doing deep dives, especially as we approach March with other teams. So I'll see you guys in the next video.